What's new about buying land in 2026? Well, the quick answer is not a lot, and some things we definitely should be aware of when we're doing this. So, I've actually added a few layers of my due diligence for my clients. Let's go over things that we're going to look about buying land in North Idaho. Again, these may pertain to across the country, but I'm a real estate agent in North Idaho. And so let's break into it. So first off, documents have changed. It's the same as buying a house. Now our offer is going to include commission. And shocker, as a buyer's agent, I'm going to ask for some commission. And we're going to talk about that well before we ever step foot onto some property. And the old way used to be that the MLS would list what the commission was, and now we put it into the offer. But there's a lot of scams out there, and so for my sellers or for my buyers, the title companies have started to do some additional research. And I'm even doing some additional research prior to us writing an offer, just because I've seen it so much. And not all agents are created equal. Not everybody has the same amount of experience. If you've got an out-of-state owner that owns vacant land, there's a good opportunity for them to get scammed. And someone could come along, put their property on the market. I've had it happen to quite a few of my clients. I've been scammed myself. I've been reached out to by people that say that they're the owners. There's a whole couple of videos that I've done over that. But essentially, when you're buying property, it really depends on what you're going to be doing with that property, of what you're going to be researching in that property. So I'm going to help out a little bit and do some quick due diligence just to see if that property is actually owned by the owner that's selling it. Make sure that it's not scammed. Especially, and a big part of that just comes with talking to the agent. There's some agents out there that I know have been scammed. They're not going to get scammed again, just like me. And so that's a big part of it. But let's say you want to build a house on this property, because that requires quite a bit of the due diligence. There's a whole lot more if you're going to be doing commercial. There's a whole lot less if you're just going to be doing recreational. But let's say you're planning on buying a piece of property and building on it. And if the property has a well, fantastic. That adds a lot of value to the property. But during our due diligence, even prior to going out and looking at it, usually I'm kind of giving you an indication, if the property doesn't have a well, what local well depths are. And up here, you're somewhere between $75 and $100 per foot to dig a well. So the difference between a 200-foot and a 400-foot well can be drastic in the pocketbook. So knowing that local wells are 250 feet deep or 50 feet deep or 800 foot deep is very important. A perk test, or to see if you can put septic on it, is important. That involves digging a big old hole, having Panhandle Health come out, make sure that they would give you the ability to put a septic on that property. Building regulations have changed a little bit, and so that's something that we want to keep on top of to make sure that you can build the house that you have in mind out there. But another thing that people, CC&Rs, HOAs, we're starting to see a lot of these vacant lands. They're being split up. So someone goes out, buys a 100-acre lot, they split it up into 5-acre lots, sell them off. And a lot of the rules and regulations now, counties are making it so that you've got to put some type of rules, CC&Rs, on top of those properties. And so that's one thing that you're going to usually get prior to us going out and looking at that property, so that you can know if you can have chickens, so that you can know if there's 1,000 square foot a minimum on the home. Maybe there's some suggested builders that are the only builders that they really want building on that property. That's really important, because if you're just thinking, hey, I'm going to build a little lean-to shed with a stove in it, and that's not allowed, then you're going to be sunk, when you buy that property. Another thing to consider is the shape of the property, and I think that a lot of people oversee that. I think a lot of people just think that properties are square or rectangle, very uniform. And I've seen properties that are long and narrow. I've seen properties that are star patterned. So it's really good when you go out to the property to have a map, to have some kind of, I use Onyx Hunt when we go out, some kind of a digital device that while you're walking the property, you can see where the property lines are. And for me, when we're out walking property, I'll take you to all the corners if you want. But when you're looking at those maps ahead of time, so I use another mapping system prior to going out there so that you can see the property, see the shape, but it's topography. So is this a really steep property? And especially if you're coming in from out of state, you don't want to get out to that perfect piece of property that's, you're jacked, you're maybe even wrote an offer before you came in from out of state. And then you get there and it's so steep that a mountain goat can't get up the thing, right? So those are a lot of things that you got to watch out for. Used to be a lot of people would have disclosures. People don't do vacant land disclosures too much. That might be a thing that comes back. I don't know. But honestly, at the end of the day in North Idaho, one of the reasons why I encourage people to use realtors so much, obviously I'm a realtor, so this might sound biased, but people have guns. And so if you're out walking property, maybe you just decide you're going to come over and you're going to go look at this property up Smith Road. Not everybody takes kindly to strangers walking on their property. Not all neighbors take kindly to strangers walking on their property. And you might not even be on the right property. So definitely do your due diligence. It's February right here at the making of this video. So it's good to know what kind of access is going on. Is this a property that is accessible during the wintertime? If I'm going to build a house, does someone plow that road? Who is responsible for plowing that road? It might be on a county maintained road, might be a bus route, which that's great. All that's taken care of. Or it might be down a gravel road and maybe no one takes care of it. And now you're going to be footing the bill for taking care of that. And then if you are going to build and you have a builder in mind, one of the things that I love to do is have your builder come out and do a site evaluation. So we get the property under contract, builder comes out, they say, hey, I quoted you $75,000 for your site prep. With the topography on this particular property, it's going to be $80,000, it's going to be $90,000, it's going to be $50,000. So having your builder actually come out, set foot, make sure that it's the right property is super important. So a lot of this stuff we've covered in the past. The big thing that has, in my opinion, changed, is the commission. I've always had my buyers sign buyer's rep before we went out and walked vacant land. Now you're supposed to have it done, even though I know there's a lot of agents out there that don't. But I definitely think that it's really important to, at minimum, have conversations with an agent prior to going out there, whether it's a selling agent, whether it's your buyer's agent, because you do not want to get shot in North Idaho. So I hope this helps. If you're looking for land in North Idaho, don't hesitate to give me a jingle. I guess one last thing that is also really important is there's not a lot of land lenders. I will tell you, every lender that approaches me about doing business with me or getting referrals from me, I always ask them if they're a land lender. Over the last year, I've added 2 more to my repertoire, but there's not a lot of, your Bank of America, your Wells Fargo, a lot of your regular credit unions. They'll loan on a house. And if you're looking at Zillow and it might give you a breakdown of what it would cost per month, that's usually not right, because your vacant land is usually about 25% down. and it's 1 to 2% higher on mortgage rates. And you're usually doing it over 15 to 20 years, not a 30 or these ridiculous 50-year mortgages that people have talked about. So, got any questions about North Idaho or anywhere in the country? If you're looking for a great piece of property in Nebraska, I actually go to conferences all the time where we're networking with people from across the country, and I can connect you with a great agent anywhere in the United States. BK knows the way.